Hello and welcome back to another video. Thunderous Logan here, and this is the first episode of my ThunderousTherapist series. I went over how the series works in another video, but in case you don't know about the series, this series is where viewers can send me anonymous questions that are answered on the video with the idea of giving advice or giving my take on a situation. If you want to send your own question, there is a link to the Google form below. You will be completely anonymous and you will not be named in the video. But without further ado, let's get started with the questions. So the first question we have here reads as follows. My problem is my relationship with someone who means a lot to me. We both love each other, but there is a language barrier. I speak English and Spanish, and she only speaks Spanish. It annoys me sometimes, and it gets frustrating when I want to introduce her to my English-speaking friends. It's harder on me than it is with her because I can speak Spanish, and she can introduce me to her Spanish-speaking friends. What I'm trying to say is, since she doesn't know any other English-speaking person except me, I feel a lack of connection. Okay, so first off, I could definitely understand how frustrating that can be. Trying to introduce your friends to her while she can't even understand them. Now there are ways around this, such as using language translator apps that your friends could type or speak into, then send your girlfriend the words in Spanish or play it back in audio to her. Now since you state you can speak both languages, you can tell her everything your friends say to her. Like I said, I could see a lot of ways around that issue, and of course you can recommend her to take English classes if you don't want to have to do all that. But if she doesn't want to, then try those things I suggested to get around the language barrier. Now beside all that, there's a bigger issue that comes to my mind from what you've told me. Now, I didn't specify if this relationship is in person or online. Now if you and your girlfriend live in the same country, then this won't be an issue at all. But if you don't, then you may face some serious issues with your relationship in the future if your girlfriend doesn't have a decent understanding of English, and here's why. So you say they speak English and Spanish. Now this also won't be an issue if you're living in a Spanish country, but if you live either in the United States or United Kingdom, or just any other country that isn't a Spanish-speaking country, your girlfriend will not be able to become a legal citizen in said country if she doesn't have a decent understanding of the country's language, since that's one of the citizenship requirements as far as I know. So if this is the case, please advise her to take language classes as soon as possible, or any other way she can learn said language so you don't face this problem in the future. Now, beside all that, you said they love each other, and if you do, please don't give up on her. Sure, she means a lot to you, and I'm sure you mean a lot to her. Depending on your circumstances, it may seem like a lot of work, and I'm sure it will take a long time to get these issues resolved, but please have patience on this. It may seem frustrating now, but if you and her work hard to fix these problems between you two, I can assure you they will be all worth it in the end. I hope my advice and suggestions help, and I wish you both the best of luck in your relationship. So moving on to question 2, and this person actually stated their name. It reads as follows. How do you feel about taking the next, well, quote-unquote big step in life and getting ready to go to college to study for your favorite career? By George. Okay, so here's the thing with this question. I currently, at the time of recording this video, don't have a set-in-stone plan to go to college or any other higher-up schooling. But I am thinking about possibly going to a trade school of sorts for hands-on work for something like building computers, fixing computers, video editing, voice acting, or just anything else similar that I find interesting. Now, how do I feel about it? Well, I'd say mostly nervous. When I first went to middle school and high school, I remember I was very nervous those first few days in those new schools, but after some time I eventually got used to everything. So I would predict that if I decide to go to a higher up schooling, I'm going to feel nervous at first, but I'll eventually get used to it. I'm sure that as long as I work hard and be responsible there, I'm sure I'll do just fine. So moving on to question 3, who is also by George, as they once again stated their name. There's also some typos in this question, so I'll read it as I think it should be read. Do you feel like you're mature enough to live on your own, or at least gain the hang of learn how to do stuff for yourself, but would having someone else in company help? Well, to start off, I believe that I am capable and mature enough to live on my own, but obviously I can't do that until I have decent income coming in. I've actually been doing more independent things recently, such as making phone calls, not with family or friends, but calling up places to order stuff and get things set up for myself. And also filing out my own documents, such as when I changed my address with the postal service, which as you may know I had moved semi-recently. So with all that being said, if I continue to get comfortable and practice more of these independent life skills, then I should be just fine. Now, having someone in company such as an adult in my family, in my opinion, would help because they got much more experience in life and they could likely teach me more independent skills. I will admit that I don't know everything about living on my own, and I'm sure they could teach me said things that I don't know. So moving on to question 4 and the last question for this video, it states as follows. This will probably be past tense by the time it happens, but how did you feel when you were graduating? So first off, I felt very accomplished, as you would probably expect from anyone. Now I had felt even more relieved and accomplished since after 13 years of going to grade school, I had finally completed it and I didn't have to ever go back. Because I do think pretty much everyone watching this video can relate to wanting school to be over already, and that's honestly how I felt as well. And it was a really great feeling knowing that it was indeed finally over, and I also felt very proud of myself for being able to get through all those years of school. There was some school years where things were getting tough for me to the point where I would constantly feel down. This was because some school years I would constantly have to deal with trying to get good grades, having to deal with people at school who would make me feel terrible, and even dealing with issues that I had at home like family drama. And honestly, looking back at how bad things had gotten for me during those times, and now knowing that I managed to get through it all, has honestly made me feel like a stronger person and has increased my self-esteem a lot. So for anyone out there going through a rough time, please believe in yourself. Stick up for yourself, and don't ever give up. Then when it's finally over, it will be the best feeling knowing that you got through it all. So that's going to be it for this video. Now something I do want to mention before I end the video, this isn't a Q&A. Meaning questions like what's your favorite color or like what's your favorite food are not the type of questions that I'll be answering in these videos. I'm more looking for questions like the ones that are put into this video, which require me to go into a decent amount of detail in order to answer them. I just wanted to mention this now because I did see some Q&A style questions on the Google form, which again isn't what I'm looking for, so just please be aware of that. But yeah, that is going to go ahead and wrap up this video here, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll have another episode of the series out eventually, but until then, I will see you all in the next video.